bad communion wine. I could do it. I could write a book.
I've had
on
some
that.
bad wine too.
I read a book on that.
It is Mogan David. Isn't that funny? We should bring that up too. MD.
Ugh, nasty.
Did you ever drink that?
Yeah, but right now I still have the aftertaste of the Malort in my mouth.
Oh, shit's terrible.
Gross. Why?
Well,
because
okay, so I went to the liquor booth to pick up our drinks for the evening.
Are we
where
rolling,
I got
by
this.
the way?
Yes,
Yeah,
of course.
that was some good shit.
So,
Okay.
this is what I've been seeking after. It's really hard to find. Welch's vodka transfusion. It tastes like the grape. I feel like.
That's what I drank growing up.
Oh my god!
The big old can of Welch's, you'd take the old thing and punch it and pour it. Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, with the can opener. Yeah.
That girl is so cute too. The one on the advertisement. There's a reel going around of like the outtakes of her.
Yeah.
She's like, I don't know. It makes me smack my lips.
So it should be like, yeah. So transfusion is one thing, but it definitely takes you back in time. The first drink. So this is the first time I've had that, which phenomenal, by the way. Where'd you get that, real quick?
Liquor booth.
Shout out Liquor Booth.
While I was there, though, that's where the taste in my mouth of Malort. The Malort rep was there to, you know, and she, I don't know, drew me in. I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I've never done it before.
What'd you think?
No.
You know what?
I took a video of it. I'm sure like Deuce is going to roll it sometime.
When I was working in Chicago and went to like some of the Chicago neighborhood bars, some of my coworkers from up there like, you're in Chicago now, you got to do Malort.
What's it called? The Chicago handshake?
Yeah.
When you do it with Old Milwaukee or Pabst?
Old Style.
Old
Style.
Well, I could have used some Old Style. I
don't want to knock it for everybody because, you know, to each their own. But I was saying earlier, I went to a wedding in Davenport. One of my good friends' sister and brother-in-law were getting married, and that was their shot of choice. It will take you down very, very quickly, and it's not the most pleasant taste. But some people like it because it's very almost black licorice-y, but woo.
I don't even know
to
what the taste
nth degree.
Of course, Ellen and I just had our youngest turn 21, and he said the worst thing he had on his 21st birthday was a shot of Jose.
Oh, what?
Come on, Scott.
What?
Don't be a sissy.
Oh my gosh.
That was terrible.
It is an award-winning shot. He should have filled.
Is he a drinker?
No.
Yeah,
no.
that's why.
I mean,
that's
like
not something
sips.
that you want to do.
I mean, but that was like the first thing, you know,
the very first thing.
Family came in.
That can't be your inaugural 21 shot.
It is for me to give out to people.
In her place, sure.
So you remember the first shot you did as a 21-year-old?
It was Jack.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You?
No, I don't
remember.
She was drinking when she was 14.
Stop.
Yeah.
No, I was not.
Listen, I was drinking pretty young, too.
We established this the last time. My first time was 15, thank you.
Oh.
And I got caught.
Yes, you did. That's right.
So I don't remember the first shot I did, but I remember them being really easy. But as the night went on, they got worse and worse. And I'll tell you, everybody thinks the blowjob shot is like the funniest. Oh, I'm not going to do this, or I'm good. You know, you're not supposed to do it with your hands. I'm sure everybody knows what it is.
Yeah.
But then someone thought it was funny to get me a Three Wise Men. Mm-hmm. Okay, have you had that?
Mm-hmm.
Johnny, Jack, and Jim.
Mm-hmm. And then someone else thought it was funny to get me a Mexican yeast infection. Anybody know what that is?
The concrete mixer also? It like coagulates in your mouth.
And then there's mayonnaise around the rim.
No.
And there's a floater of hot sauce. So let me tell you.
Wow.
Jose is not the worst shot, and Scott should be very, very happy that no one gave him.
I freaking love Jose.
I know you do.
It's good.
Yeah.
I mean, we all love our booze, though.
Yeah.
I think that's fair. That's fair.
It's Quincy.
Say. It is Quincy. So, Bob, you emailed this. We rarely have paper in front of us, but Bob emailed us all and was like, I think this is a pretty interesting topic, and I definitely agree. So, spill it.
We got, I get these randomly from a group, and this one said 1 in 5 Illinois couples consider alcohol a cornerstone of their relationship. The average couple drinks 3 times a week. Almost a quarter admit to using alcohol to specifically smooth over disagreements. And there's also an interactive map, which I will have posted, in which you can see the state breakdowns.
Very
and of course, Quincy is going to be quite prevalent there.
So I was asking, 1 in 5 Illinois couples. I wonder how that translates to Quincy.
I'm hoping the interactive map will show, because I just glanced at it.
Yeah, I didn't get into it.
But now I'm gonna definitely take a look at it when in post production we'll get that taken care of.
Because I think of course, just speaking from my own personal perception, Luke and I like to drink together. There, of course, alcohol. I'm not promoting alcohol in relationships, but there is good, bad, and ugly about all of it. Luke and I use it as kind of a come together when the kids are in bed or we're going places with our friends, and it has benefits. I'll say
boosting intimacy.
Boosting intimacy.
47%.
What I say, dude.
47%.
All right, I'm gonna say.
Make it better.
I'm gonna throw it out there that it is a scientific fact that alcohol lowers inhibitions. Now, inhibitions come into play with intimacy, and when you're having problems in bed, if you have a couple drinks, it may woosah, right? And you're a little more outgoing, shall we say?
I'm totally blushing right now.
Yeah, you are. I can see it.
Totally.
Also, communication. So Luke and I sometimes, throughout the day-to-day stuff, we may not have time or feel comfortable talking about something that bothered us. Mm-hmm. Booze, whether good, bad, or ugly, definitely lets that truth come out.
Conflict resolution.
It could be conflict resolution. It could be conflict magnification. But either way, me personally, I can't let something sit here after I've had a few drinks. It will come out.
Same.
Right?
Big decisions after a few drinks.
Oh.
23% of couples make significant life decisions. Does Temu count? Or Amazon shopping? Because that's what my wife does after drinking.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I throw this.
I might, too. Perhaps a shirt like this
right?
I might have gotten after a couple
amazing.
cocktails. Yeah.
So you'll have to tell us the story behind this in just a minute. Okay. But, Brittany, I want to know kind of your take on booze and big decisions, because I have one it's terrible that we talked about this drunk, but sometimes I feel like I do it on purpose. Sorry, Luke. So I talk about big things. Like, I've always been interested. Okay, let me take it down a notch. Cats. Okay? My kids found 2 kittens over at the school.
But you have kids, so you're not a childless cat lady. Let's be clear about that.
It doesn't matter. I don't care. I love animals. So my kids found 2 kittens at the school. Okay? They brought them over. Luke and I were drinking. Mm-hmm. He said, don't even bring those kittens over here. If your mom sees them, we're never going to get rid of them, right? If he were not a little lubed, those cats would have been...
By alcohol.
Yeah. I think that's what we're talking about here, Bob. But if he wouldn't been... Sometimes he feels a little more generous or a little more relaxed. So if he hadn't had some drinks, he probably would have been like, get the cats out of here. We're not doing cats. Because he's not a hater, but he knows it's just one more thing we have to deal with. But now we have 2 cats. So let's just go ahead and say, I feel like the booze helped in that. Right?
Yeah.
So have you had any
bad decisions?
No.
Big decisions?
I don't feel like the kittens were
It's
bad.
only an hour podcast.
Excuse me, I just belched in the mic. But have you ever used a boozy evening with Mike? And I'm not talking trash. I'm just talking you're kind of you're just kind of
to make a
buzzy.
Big decision.
Yeah, you guys sit down and talk, and you're like, I need to.
Usually, the big decisions that we make while drinking are going to a concert or something. There you go. And then you're
spending money.
Yes.
I think
we
that's
really
a big
paid
thing.
For these tickets.
Yes. It's like, oh my God, what were we thinking? I don't know.
But then
it's a good time. I think I wouldn't make those decisions had I not been drinking. I'm kind of conservative in my money.
Yeah.
For the most part, kind of, except when I'm on Temu and drinking. That is a mess.
I think it's Temu.
Temu.
No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
You're not Don O'Brien tight, but you're tight.
What?
Don O'Brien's the tightest guy.
Oh, okay. I was like, never mind.
Oh, no, Don's very tight.
I was like, where are we going
financially?
With this? Okay.
Christ almighty.
Holy shit, guys. It's getting deep. Hey, booze.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, but I think, so you can look at the good and the bad with that. Yeah. You're a little more conservative financially.
And I wouldn't do these things for myself.
But do you regret them after you've had those memories?
No, that's what I was going to say. I regret it after I've, committed to it. Yeah. But then once it actually happens, I'm like, oh, okay, that was fun.
Yeah.
No regrets.
No regrets.
Yeah.
No regrets.
Maybe immediately, but then long term, it's like, you know what? You only live once. This is what I always use to justify my money spending or my drinking or my any other bad habit. I'm like, life's too short.
YOLO.
So,
and then you say you're going to quit drinking, and then you for X, and then you start again.
Yeah, because I mean, full disclosure, I do consider myself a baby alcoholic, if that's a thing. Mm-hmm. I don't. We use it somewhat as
a little bit of a crutch.
Yeah,
where you're in habits, not so much I don't know. I don't ever feel compelled that I need to crack open a beer because I'm angry or anything like that. It's just the socialization part, and I guess I don't want to miss out on that. Which
it's FOMO.
But,
FOMO.
Yes,
yeah, it is.
But I can
also
yeah.
Look at us being all hip. I feel like those are out. Yeah.
I will. I am the first to admit that when I get pissed, I have a drink just to go.
Really?
Witnessed that the other day.
Can calm your nerves. Yeah,
well,
I guess.
I mean,
I'm like more of a social, happy like drinker. I feel like.
I think it stems from also our background, and I'm not blaming it on my career choice, but when you're around it, you are a product of your environment. So when I try to stop drinking, I come to Club Muddy and looky here. No, I'm kidding. I'm not blaming it on you because I'll go home and have drinks. But I love.
We could use some Welch's without the vodka. If you'd like.
No thanks. But no, I love that the people I've met through drinking, the people that I connect with through drinking, holler all the girls that I met in all the women's bathrooms along the way, right? Where I'm like, who are you? What do you need? Oh, you look so pretty, right? Which is, it's a connection builder, whether, through strangers, in your relationships. That's my experience. I'm not saying that's everyone's.
How many glasses of wine did you have when we had our first lunch to talk about you doing this?
4, but it's because I was like, what the hell am I getting myself into?
Yeah.
No.
I think I had 3, and she wanted the one more. I'm like, sure. What the
heck? Know what it did though? It kind of lowered the wall that I tend to put up.
Her inhibitions.
People. Yeah.
No, they didn't.
No. Oh, well, it lowered the wall because if I were completely sober, I would have been like, I can't take this.
Because we didn't know each other.
Ridiculous. Yeah.
We didn't know each other.
I have no idea what I'm getting myself into.
Brittany recommended you. I'm like, sure.
Yeah, it was awesome.
I'll talk to her.
So then after I left, I called Luke and I was like, he goes, have you had wine? I said, yeah. He said, did that influence your decision? I said, that's why I'm calling you, because I need you to be my tiebreaker. And he was like, you should do it. So.
And then she called me back like a half hour later.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It was good. It
came around with the alcohol.
It did.
And I know people struggle, so I don't want to make light of this because I know people struggle with alcohol, and relationships also suffer through the use of alcohol, and it has broken many things. But from this study, which is what we're solely talking about, is I do agree with it. And in my personal experience, Luke and I enjoy having drinks together because it does tend to force us to make time for one another and conversations, and we also have fun socially with it. So
also, everything in moderation.
Right. There's a balance. There is something to be said about balance, but if you can balance and control, I think it can help, but it can also hurt. So there you go.
It's kind of interesting that we're talking about this, though, because alcohol, I think it plays the biggest reason why we're talking about it. It plays a big part in our culture. Your shirt, we'll get to that real quick. Our guest has a different substance.
Yes.
She owns the only hookah lounge in town.
Yeah.
And culturally, the hookah is like alcohol in other countries. You know,
it's the connector.
Thing, yeah, that's the thing that they circle around. You have to be of a certain age. I don't know, but it's a lot younger than 21, and that's what people are waiting for. They don't wait for their first drink; they wait for their first hookah, and I think that's kind of interesting.
It's very interesting.
When I first heard the term hookah lounge, I thought it was a brothel.
Really?
I did.
That would be a really cool name for it.
I did.
Yeah.
I was like 10, 15 years ago or whatever. I'm like, was that like a brothel? Is that a hookers or what?
I had a very, very...
Somebody said, oh, no,
lounge?
It's smoking.
Hooker lounge.
I'm like, oh, you're smoking what? Smoking hookah. Well, what's that? And then like, oh, okay.
I had a very young experience with a hookah, and I'll get to that when our guest is on. But, I think the symbolism of uniting I think we all in Quincy and abroad need a hookah. I think we need to sit down and have a hookah together for sure. Let's get to your shirt.
What does it symbolize?
It symbolizes the start of football season, number one, because tonight, as we record this on Thursday, is the first NFL preseason game, the Hall of Fame game, the Bears and the Texans. Football season's my favorite time of year, but this was based on a football game between the University of Notre Dame and the University of Miami back in the late 80s, early 90s, in which a couple of enterprising young students at Notre Dame printed out these T-shirts symbolizing Notre Dame and the convicts being the University of Miami, as they were a flamboyant bunch of guys, let's just say. So they started selling these T-shirts at the game, and they had a rivalry. They hadn't played in like 28 years, so they cranked out these shirts. And so the first year he sold all these shirts, he forgot to trademark it.
Oh, son
Somebody
of a
else. So he made like 25 grand like his first year. But the dude who trademarked it made 500 grand when they played the next year, and it was Catholics versus Convicts 2. And
Let that be a lesson.
Trademark your stuff.
shit.
That's right. We got all our stuff trademarked. So anyway.
Also, I think this was before everybody got offended by everything.
Yo, definitely.
There's
because
no way that would fly today.
Oh, because all the Miami players and like the Miami fans were like, give us those. Yeah, we want those. Those are great. We love those. They wore it like a badge of honor.
Hell yeah.
Plus they were badass. They were they're both great football teams back then.
Yeah.
They both won national championships during this period. And I actually was lucky enough to witness the University of Miami in 1987 when I was working at Mizzou, when I was at the J School and working at the TV station there. I got to do video camera sideline stuff.
Sweet.
And Mizzou is playing Miami and just getting crushed.
Yeah.
And Michael Irvin was running a pass. You guys know who Michael Irvin is? He played for the University of Miami before he played for the Cowboys, running a pass down the sideline, and Craig Erickson, the Miami quarterback, threw a perfect spiral, and I had this shot of the ball spinning. I'm like, oh my God, it's going to be a great video. Irvin catches it, brings it in like this, looks at me, puts the ball in my camera, pulls it back, runs in the touchdown, and does this. Best video shot I ever had in my life when I was doing stuff. I was like, oh, and then Irvin played for the Cowboys, were my favorite team. I always liked Michael Irvin. So
that's do you have video of that?
I have it somewhere, yes.
Yeah,
I have a box of I have a box of 3/4-inch videotapes in my garage that I need to really give to Randy Phillips to say.
Yeah, digitalize these, Val. Yeah, otherwise they're going to be gone. They're going to be ruined.
So that's my Catholics versus Convicts.
That's so cool. And I love that. I love that. I was talking to somebody the other day, and they're like, "Bob, just don't give a shit." And honestly, it's one of the things I love about you because you just don't. You're going to have some haters over this. Well, even though it's already
there would be people who would have thought before President Biden dropped out it was a reflection on the presidential race, the Catholic versus the convict, but that's not the case.
I kind of thought that when I watched.
I kind of thought that when I came in, but I wasn't going to bring it up because there's enough conversation around that, and I heard something else that was really interesting. One of my favorite podcasters was like, once you've made your decision, get rid of all of the political ads because it's nothing but noise and you already have your decision made and it's just used for divisiveness. So I love it. Catholics versus convicts. I think that it was a genius marketing thing, especially on behalf of a couple college guys, but trademark your shit,
get your trademark.
Man.
Yeah, get your trademark done.
For 100%. So. Well, great.
Good chat.
Great study.
Good stuff. So
I'm really excited about our guests.
Yeah, you guys have fun with your guests. I'm going to go pour myself another one of these. I'm sure you guys will have some more before we get our second half on, and we'll be right back.
The Liquor Booth is your home for a huge selection of beer, wine, and spirits. The Liquor Booth has 2 locations in Quincy, 3520 Broadway and 1500 North 12th Street. The Liquor Booth, where it's always happy hour.
A&B Properties is Quincy's largest apartment rental company with hundreds of units available. They offer short-term and long-term rentals with 1 up to 4-bedroom apartments. A&B Properties meets the needs of its tenants with care, compassion, and a quality of service that exceeds expectations. A&B Properties also has a convenient tenant app for you to do your payments or make repair requests. Give them a call today. A&B Properties, 217-919-8080, Quincy.
Yeah. Hell yeah. So are we rolling?
Yeah.
Okay, so life is full of great experiences, and I think Beth Duesterhaus is here to talk about a lot of those. Life also has, of course, ups and downs. We'll talk about some of those as well, but thank you for being here.
Thank you
it's
for
freaking
having
awesome.
me. This is kind of cool.
Yeah.
So
it's really
more
cool.
Than kinda.
So a lot of times when we have guests come in, it's like they're so nervous and they don't really know what to say and they don't know how to be themselves, but I think one thing that people love to see is genuine self. So Brittany and I try to do this a lot, just like be ourselves, and people like it or people hate it. But
I was going to say, or people hate it.
Yeah, but we don't. I mean, we know that you can't please everybody all the time.
Correct.
But we, as we were talking about earlier, we know that there are people who religiously watch us because they're interested not only in what Muddy River News has to say, but the people that we bring on, because.
You have an interesting
We have an interesting
Well, it's I think our
range,
reach
I'll
is
say, yeah.
our reach is really far and we don't discriminate, as far as who comes on to tell us about their shit. So thank you for being here again.
You're welcome.
Let's start off with what do you want to start with?
Well, I think the biggest thing is the Hookah Lounge.
I think
the
so
what?
too. I mean,
Greenhouse.
Yes.
The greenhouse.
Greenhouse, Haus.
Yes.
Because
Getting that maiden name back.
yeah.
Duesterhaus.
Gonna try and do the family name proud, you know.
So you mentioned in the hallway, you were like, I think my grandfather would be, even though he's not with us, would be so proud to know that I'm back to that name. I think that's really freaking cool.
He was always like, "Don't get your name in the paper. You'll ruin our name."
so he was a name guy, which I think that's normal. My maiden name is Hooper, and it didn't have a lot of good things attached to it, but everywhere I go, everybody's like, "Are you Hoop's daughter?" I'm like,
Yeah.
"Hell yeah, I
You're
am."
still Hoop for
I'm
a lot
Hoop
of
to
people.
a lot of people.
All the Duesterhauses are deuces, so you know it's just what you get.
Yes, they are, including Deuce from the liquor booth. Are
Yep.
you related to him?
And
Probably
yeah.
it's somewhere along the line. Yeah.
We don't go to same family reunions.
Yeah.
He hooked us up with this skunky unky
Right on,
is
yeah.
what I call it.
Skunky
unky is
I didn't.
right.
I've never drank Heineken before until I met Beth.
Really?
Yeah, it was like not really my jam, and then she got me introduced to it. We met,
was
I
gonna ask.
think, at Spring Street Bar, but I kind of think it was before
I
that.
think it was with Chris.
Yeah,
Actually.
so my uncle ran around with them, and
Okay.
I kind of confused, because like what we were talking, early memories.
Yeah.
I kind of
yeah.
thought she was my aunt growing up.
Mm-hmm.
Her ex and my uncle, and then my other uncles, they all kind of look alike.
Yeah.
And they sound, so I just,
true.
there was so many of them, I kind of just blended them together, and I was like, oh, he's just one of my uncles too.
Yeah.
So she was my aunt.
100%. Which is awesome. You're a cool aunt to have, I'll say that.
But then I think I found out later, I'm like, oh, we're not related? And that was like when
That's-
I was at Spring Street Bar and,
I like
okay.
You know what's funny? So I just had this conversation with my kids because I have a lot of really, really tight friends, including Brittany, including Bob, including my friend Aaron, Haley, Katie. I mean, I have so many friends, and my kids just realized, my 14-year-old just realized, we're not actual
Sisters? Or
cousins.
related?
No,
Or
she was like, they're
cousins?
not really not my cousins. I was like, no, it's just that we're around each other so much that we call
That's
each
awesome.
other, Aunt Ashley and Haley, like we
Yeah.
just do it. And I think that's a big part of community, which is also something that is a huge theme of the greenhouse, right? Community.
Completely. I want everyone to come and socialize and hang out, and like on our Sunday meal days when everybody brings something and we all gather together and have a little family meal together, and
Yeah.
it's just kind of cool, and everybody's just glad to be there for it too.
Right.
They don't want
and whether or not you're solving the world's problems that day or not, you're coming to, come around the table together.
camaraderie,
Right.
hanging out.
Yeah.
It's Sunday.
Very, very
And
cool.
I
she
mean,
leads
if I could throw on Hee Haw and
Yeah.
Mutual of Omaha, for the Sunday shows, I would be.
Dude.
Everyone calls you the bar mama, like at Spring, you were like the matriarch of everyone, of the bartenders. She made people get along when we don't want to get along. And,
Which
she
it's part
kind of took
it.
on that role. And then she took on that role with customers. And then she took on that role when she opened her own business. Like, she brought that vibe there where she's mama, she's matriarch, she takes care of you, she feeds you, she makes you feel like it's home.
It's one big living room.
Oh,
The
we need
biggest
more
thing,
of that.
it's like an outlet. Anytime I've ever like felt kind of sad or something, I can go in there and I don't need to, it's not expected to smoke a hookah. I can just sit there and chill, and she
Right.
makes it better. Like, you are
Let's
mama
have a cup of tea.
community.
Through conversation.
Yeah, let's just.
I
yeah.
love the hot tea there. She has the best selections
So I
of
was
hot
going to
tea.
ask, because I am embarrassed to say that I have yet to, visit, but that's not because of the business
No.
or anything. It's just, shit's stupid busy and whatever, kids, blah, 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 blah,
But
blah.
we're gonna
You're
carve
living
out a
life, my
time.
mom would say.
Right?
You're living life.
We're
So,
going to carve out a time.
we need
And
to.
I think we should,
Because I need
open
that.
it up. And
Yeah,
and I think everybody needs that.
And just come in and see what it's all about, and
Yeah.
see if you can't chill out for an hour.
I need that. And I feel like everybody needs that, especially today. And I'm not going to dog on a dumpster fire of our world today, because I still think Quincy's amazing, and I think we are a pioneer city that we could change probably the world if we did things right.
Oh.
But so the matriarch thing is very freaking interesting. I didn't really think about that until just now. You probably play a bigger part in all of your patrons' lives than you realize. Did you ever think about that before she said that?
No, I hadn't thought of it that way,
Yeah.
but that's cool. I just know, my regulars, and I know we're going to talk things out.
every
and-
regular says this about her.
Really?
Like, that she just gives off, not just mom vibe, your friend,
comforting,
but like that good feeling that mom gave you, she can like.
Now, are you like counselor by nature?
No,
Do you have
I was a bartender at Spring Street.
So yes, it's inborn.
Yeah,
or I mean, it's learned or inborn or whatever it is. But I do think that people have that. They have that thread running through them that maybe they don't know. Very freaking cool.
You know, when you take your test at school and they say this is what you're going to be, they said I should be a counselor.
Really?
So I became a bartender.
I mean,
same thing.
Same thing.
Yeah.
But then alcohol gets to be played in it. So
okay, so then you. So I want to get into the why of the greenhouse because I know what just from hearing from Brittany, and I know she wrote a fantastic piece on this. And if you haven't read it, you can still find it on Muddy River News. But it was fantastic. One of the first articles that it really solidified my belief in Brittany as a writer and you as a person and your business. It was freaking great. So what's the why? Why greenhouse?
When I was working at Rise, we all thought we needed a place to smoke,
Okay.
And then when you go to study and realize what all the things you need to open a smoking lounge, there's a lot of requirements.
Sure.
And so
now we're talking smoking. We're talking nicotine.
Correct.
Okay. We're not talking pot. We're not talking hashish, whatever the French it is.
Although in places they would use hash is what the common smoking. But we're doing shisha, which is tobacco, or I have a non-tobacco, which is flavored with molasses and any flavor you could think of under the sun.
So it doesn't have to be nicotine.
Nope. Yeah. Some of it's sugar cane. Some of it's apples. Some of it's...
I'll smoke some apples.
Right?
Hell yeah.
In the
okay.
No.
Well, I mean, listen, I didn't know this, so I'm sure other people didn't know this.
Yes.
Is really
so we have a non-tobacco, two options of non-tobacco, actually 3 now. And then I have a stronger tobacco for people who do like tobacco.
Yeah.
And then I have the regular versions that are just, run-of-the-mill, not run-of-the-mill, but regular.
Mainstream.
Yes.
Ish.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And then
but then you mentioned tea.
Yes. She serves hot tea.
Hot teas. I have sodas and, it said, this is how I started the business. I Googled it and said, how to open a hookah cafe.
Yeah.
1 through 10 or whatever. And so I just followed the things and it said they will need something to drink. They will need to be hydrated. A hookah lasts about an hour, so you'll need something for them to snack on. And so I had little bites and little drinks, and the hot tea, of course, is just part of the fun.
Yeah.
It's like playing tea,
Yeah.
almost as a kid, when you're...
And chilling out.
I love the offering, but okay, so back to the question, because I feel like I totally digressed that or redirected, but the why. So when you started a business, because we're 100% behind anybody who wants to open a business, especially in today's climate, but especially females. And I'm not being all, lion woman, hear me roar. But I mean, it is something that as a woman's brain works differently. So when you want to open a business, my first thought, I'm not gonna like throw that on you, but my first thought would be like, oh God, Ash, really? What are you getting yourself into? Right? You kind of talk yourself out of it. So why and how? Can you run us through that?
I didn't want to talk myself out of anything. I set it up to where, it was going to be my retirement game.
Yeah.
Kind of like, everybody's going to come to me and I'm going to sit there and they're going to come visit me.
Mama Beth.
in my old age, and I'll have this place where they can come and do that. And that was like the first thought was, what am I going to do with myself after I do retire and I do get older and also I want to see what the kids are up to. You want
to stay hip?
Yeah,
totally necessary.
On the the level that I can stay as hip as possible.
Yeah, it's impossible, but you can't keep it up. Sigma.
When this opened, though, you were going through a couple of things too. It was like an outlet, I think. I remember I was even one of the people that probably said, "What are you doing?" Yeah. And I feel ashamed.
You naysayer.
That. I am sometimes.
You're the voice of reason, but go.
But you can't do it until you fail. You don't know until you
don't laugh over
He's
there.
Failing. Shut up,
I am the voice. Yeah,
and I don't mind failing. It's like whoopee Larry. What's going to happen?
Yeah.
There's nothing.
Whoopee
But
Larry.
you're going through some things yourself,
Hi, Sam.
and this was an outlet, and it was an important outlet because some of the people in your life were telling you, not just me, but like really close people to you, were saying no. like, no, you can't do this.
Silly.
And anytime you tell a woman no,
that's
you
going to
can't
make it
do
even
this.
more intense. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's part of the reason, I think.
I wrote up a business plan. I did everything accordingly to whatever they wanted me to do in Quincy, and followed all the rules. And here I am playing the game, and it's working.
Yeah.
You know?
Hell yeah.
And I'm a woman doing it.
Yeah.
Right? So it makes it that much more, like I said, hell yeah.
It wasn't even that difficult, you guys. It was just
really
kind of like,
because
if you've ever worked in a kitchen as a line cook, that's harder than what I had to do for this.
I haven't, but I've worked in the service industry, and I think we all have that kind of connection. But
this was so much less stressful.
Really?
Yeah, completely.
Because I saw kind of the shit that you had to jump through, and I was like, God bless that lady. And I don't even want to bring God into it because I don't really.
That was more of the the political part of it that you don't, you're going to have problems with people not liking what you're doing.
Yeah.
So
overcome.
Not everyone
adapt and
has
overcome,
to like what you're doing.
Yes.
But you believed in yourself and you believed in what you wanted to do. And I think just talking to you, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think you started for a kind of a surface reason. Like you wanted to, solidify a retirement plan and you wanted to be involved in the community. But I think it's morphed into more of people want to come and be around you because you're soothing, your comfort, your
chill.
Yeah, like you're the person that everyone needs in their life today, which is, it says something bad about, things that are going on.
I just want to turn things down a notch. Let's just all just be chill.
Chill.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we need.
Yeah.
We just need to realize that not everything is dire straits. Just chill. And the more you can connect and the more you can
communicate with your loved ones. Yes.
100%.
Yes. Or whoever the person you feel comfortable talking to.
Yeah. So good for you. So greenhouse, when did you open? It was 3 years ago?
3 years.
No, that's when I started the plan and had to start getting my licenses and getting it so I could open.
But 3 years ago today,
yes, it actually came in the mail.
Oh,
cheers.
Yeah, buddy.
So we're doing it. And
you are doing it.
Well, yeah, I keep saying we, weirdly, because 30 years of my life was always we, and now it's just me. And I'm like, I did that. I did it by myself.
Good for you.
You need to remember that, too. So that was kind of part of the reason that you started it, was starting a new life.
Chapter.
Yep.
Yes.
What do I want to do next? I want to open my own business. What am I going to do? A hookah lounge.
Yeah.
What I've always wanted to do, which is friggin' awesome.
It was a good
surreal?
choice.
Is it surreal or is it like I knew this was going to happen? Are you okay?
So to me, I'm like, say I can't do it, and I'm going to do it.
Yeah,
that's me.
Now, are you a manifester? Are you like I'm throwing it out there?
Yep.
Yeah, I've
put it out in the universe.
I've started that,
and it will write it down. Make your plan.
I say it.
Check it off as you're doing it, and it will.
One thing that's really ridiculous, but I saw it somewhere, and I'm like, I'm just going to try it. What harm can it do? My name's Ashley Conrad, and good things are going to happen to me.
Boom.
And then
that's simple, though.
And then I upped it, and I was like, my name's Ashley Conrad, and great things are going to happen to me. And
she has this energy. I'm serious. You have that energy,
and I'm not saying that the reason I found my front row Walmart parking spot is because I said that, but I am going to attribute it to that, and I fully
why not
stand
ask for these things in your life?
100%.
Why not?
Throw it out there. What harm can it do?
None. So I've been buying tickets to shows and just going to live shows since I haven't been able to for the past.
What are we talking live shows?
Like
comedy,
music.
Okay.
Or comedy would be great too. I just haven't found the right show to sign up for
talk
or whatever.
After.
But yeah. Okay.
She's doing all the things, I feel like, that she hasn't.
I was so stifled that now I'm just like running amok.
All right. So I do want to touch on this because I think everybody knows, Beth, right? So. Yeah. You have gone through this entire portion of your life. You started this new chapter. Not all great things, but we can't discount the foundation that it kind of laid for you, right? You wouldn't be here if it weren't for that. So let's throw that out there.
Right.
Also, let's not ignore it, but say thank you to the universe for offering me.
And that's another thing I say is I'm grateful for what I do have.
Yes.
And I wasn't, like I grew up poor, whatever. So now I'm like, life is freaking large, even though I've got some problems. 100%. It's pretty damn great.
Tiny. Yeah. So I always think everybody has struggles, but would you be here if it weren't for those struggles? And would you be living your dream if
and would you have this knowledge? And would you know these things that you know now that you didn't?
So when people
before the
say
struggle.
everything happens for a reason, I don't necessarily believe in that, but
Yeah,
I
I
do
don't like
believe in
that.
like the foundation of this is the reason I decided. I decided.
It's a lesson learned that maybe turns you to the
I
different
decided
direction,
based on
yeah.
my experience that I'm going to do that. Nobody's going to hand it to me, but
No.
I decided.
Yep.
Right. So.
Yep.
Okay. So how you guys met? How many years ago?
I don't know.
Because I've only known her
At
through
least
you.
20. I don't know. Like I said, I thought you were my aunt, so like 20
So
years ago.
I came back to Quincy from Colorado in 92 or 93. So then that's when Chris Hull
That's my uncle.
came into play. And yeah, so
I was,
that's a pretty
I was
long
a wee
time.
little
Yeah,
one, and it's like
yeah.
a memory that I probably don't remember.
And then, just from there it stemmed.
And then we became really good friends.
Which is friggin' awesome.
Yep.
Because I think in a place like Quincy or anywhere, but no, I'm gonna shout out Quincy because for some reason, people in Quincy build so many tight and lifelong relationships here.
I agree.
Right? It's so we can bitch about the weeds and the garbage and the when you come in, the welcome in. We can do all that, but people who are Quincyans know the importance of Quincy stems in relationships. And we were talking outside about how we can all come together and make shit happen, and I think we can. And I think the Hookah Lounge is the greenhouse is probably one way we should all. It's almost symbolic of how we
Yes.
can all come together. And
I've had we had a benefit for the Gaza kids, for instance. There's Palestinians, Lebanese, all these different people coming into the shop, but this person wanted to do it just for the kids, and
Right.
it's like, okay, we've got a meeting place for this. This
Right.
is going to happen. Make some money for them, send it off to that Jose or whoever does the cooking for all the
Oh, yeah.
yeah. And
Yeah.
so I was just like, peace can be found.
It can.
It just doesn't
it's just not the common. It's not the common
denominator yet.
thread.
Yes.
Because I think people thrive on divisiveness and arguing, and unfortunately, it's one thing that really, if we all, I want to ask you, what do you think? Okay, so social media. Well, I always come back here because my husband and I have so many conversations about it. Normally with booze. Shout out to our beginning segment, but I'm like. He doesn't have Facebook. He doesn't have anything. He's like, it's a downfall of our society. And I'm like, but I use it for good, I think, right? I spread the word. I shout out people. I mean, we had our power go out and I was like, my kids took things over to the linemen. It wasn't like I wasn't doing like a charity and with my camera type thing, but I
Right.
was like, just thank you,
Raising
linemen.
awareness.
Yeah, like thank you guys. So social media in connection with the downfall or not, whatever you think. How do you think the Hookah Lounge fits in there? Do people come in and sit on their phones?
There is one lady who comes in and does homework.
Okay.
But the other day, she just started bringing her friends in, and after homework, and after the kids are put to bed, and after the husband's got everything under control, then she came out and have a good, like relaxing time with her 4 friends. And it was just very nice to see that she can do both. She can come in and get some things done, graduate, whatever she's doing, and then come in later and have a relaxing time with her friends.
Do you see a lot of people sitting around on their phones at your place?
Not a whole lot.
There you go.
Yeah, I have a lot of fidget things.
Yeah.
A lot of conversations are going on. A lot of we do music. I got my CSAC license for anyone who wants to play live.
What's CSAC?
It's a
One of the
license.
many
Yeah,
licenses.
One
to
of the
play
many
live
hoops you have to
yes,
jump through in Quincy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
I got it down because there's only a minimum amount of people allowed in the building, so they gave me a lower rate, which is
Okay.
great.
Sure.
But I have some shows coming up, and I just want to be legal and do things properly.
How many
and
people are allowed in your building?
50.
Okay. That's a good number.
Yeah.
How many hookahs do you have?
13, I think. So ranging from 1 hose to 4 hoses, the different
How many?
styles.
And for anyone that doesn't know, like a hookah.
This is what I was gonna go to. I was-
yeah.
So like, I had never experienced a hookah until the Hookah Lounge. It makes everything like colder, smoother, like smoking.
It's not burning your throat.
No,
No.
smoking in general obviously gives a burning.
Because it's direct drive.
Yeah, so
This
this
is through a
is
hose.
even filtered.
through-
cooling,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a very smooth
And I also
smoke,
have
if you will.
hoses, costs $1 extra, but it has an ice.
Filter.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I talked about in our beginning segment that I was introduced to hookahs at a very young age. So my dad built me a smoking room in our attic, or my
Nice.
mommy and dad. I don't
Yeah.
know exactly who did it, but
In the attic.
yeah. I mean, in blacklight posters, recliners, mini fridge, the whole freaking shebang.
Sweet.
Lucky.
And I unearthed a very cool artifact, which was his hookah, and it had braided hoses.
Yes.
And it was very, very cool. I didn't use it for nicotine, full disclosure, but you could tell the difference in just the quality of smoke coming through.
Definitely.
Did you use the same water that was in there?
Oh,
Or
I
did
know.
you-
not.
That would have been super old potatoes, by the way. Don't ever do that. If you unearth a hookah, don't use
Please
the
do
same
not.
water.
I-
But no,
I
no,
just
it was
bought
really
a new
cool.
one recently
I mean,
and
it
rinsed
looked.
it.
I mean, it was like. So I hope we put a picture up, but it was like it had like 3 tier. It was almost like
Yeah.
Aladdin's lamp, and it had hoses coming out. And I introduced my friends to this hookah, and we would sit around. No, seriously, this is not a lie. And we would sit around, and I was like, "Check this out, guys!" But we would make a contest out of it, like who could get the most smoke.
Oh my God, they do that still to this day.
So
Yeah.
it was like who could get the most smoke out of it. Now, the entire thing was so cool because all of my friends would come around. I think there were 4 hoses, and we would all sit around, and it would be like, "Oh, this is so cool! How
Everybody
cool is
gets
it?"
to hit
It's
at the
just
same
So
time.
cool!
Yeah.
It was so connective that I was like,
Yeah.
"I'm never not doing hookah."
Yes, and I think that's what everybody feels when they come in and they're sitting
Yeah.
down with their friends and doing it, and they just have a really good time. And they come in quiet, then all of a sudden they just start talking, and then it gets louder and louder, and they're having a great time. And I just enjoy seeing that part of it too, where they're just
so
letting
cool.
loose,
Yeah.
So
I love how you like soak it in.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think everybody needs
it's
that.
pretty cool.
So, before the hookah, because I know you jumped through a lot of hoops to get this business started, which we've touched on some of them, but everybody knows there's licensing issues, and but you went around those, and you're like, I'm just going to do nicotine. You're working towards something, but we're not going to.
A consumption license.
Right.
Brett and I are trying to figure out what we're going to do with that. So
Brett Austin.
Yes.
Right.
That's her landlord.
Oh,
with the-
okay.
Yeah, it's his
Okay.
building, so I have
And
to.
he's helped her through a lot
Yes,
of this
he's-
too
Yeah.
to like get this ball rolling. So
If
shout
we
out
can
to
figure
him.
out what the other places are doing and what's holding us back here,
Do you think it's Illinois?
I think it's Quincy.
Oh, just Quincy.
Yeah.
Or
Really?
maybe Adams County. Like I remember when we were
Adams
doing-
County is full on, but it's not.
Oh, I thought for some reason you couldn't have the same license with food or something.
That's true, but Adams County doesn't have anything against consumption.
Okay.
Of
We
THC we're
right,
talking.
Right,
Okay.
It's the city that has to decide.
Okay.
Well, how
House
come the
rules,
city
I think.
how come the city can have a rise and a herbal remedies and a whatever, but you can't have a.
House rules. I'm not sure what that means.
Okay.
I don't know how.
I'm
But
not
in
stirring
oth-
the pot here, but I'm just
no, let's
asking.
stir
Yeah.
it because in other places it is
The
allowed.
Luna Lounge has.
like in America, this isn't
And
just like
in Illinois
a cultural
as
thing.
well.
Well, I got a super
Carbondale,
deep question
yeah.
here. So we talked about 1 in 5 couples using alcohol. Do you disagree or agree that alcohol is more damaging than THC?
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
I think
Wait,
that's
we agree that it is more.
It is more
damaging.
damaging.
Oh, absolutely.
Alcohol is more
Alcohol is
damaging.
much more damaging.
that is why you
It can,
get
first of all, alcohol can kill you.
right.
Marijuana can't. Unless, of course,
You're driving and it's super-
yeah, I don't know.
super
I don't even know
stoned.
what cases are that where marijuana killed somebody, but I'm sure there's somebody's going to bring one up.
Yeah.
But
There will be somebody, but
now that I just said that, of
Yeah.
course, too.
100%. But in my experience, and I've done both, and I'll fully disclose anyone who wants to ask questions. I like alcohol. I also have partaken in marijuana, THC, CBD, all of the above. There's a definite difference, and until you know, let's not cast.
Right,
Right?
exactly.
Yeah. So
So there's so many pills people are taking that are even
Pharmaceuticals,
worse,
baby!
So worse. I'd rather you took a capsule of, ground up weed than take a capsule of
yeah,
oxycodone or whatever
Yeah.
you call
Right.
that stuff.
Yeah.
So
There's a reason why started like slowly being able to. There's a reason why it became legal, and it's just what you just said.
Yes.
Pharmaceuticals are so been
damaging.
proven to be damaging, and we've proven that medicinal marijuana has its proponents. So
because children are named after certain cannabises, like Jenny Cush, because she had seizures. You know what I mean? So,
really?
Yeah. So that's where that comes from.
I remember that study.
Yeah.
It was a I think
little girl had
worldwide.
So many seizures per day. Got it down to like 7 or something, you know. I think she
from
did
like
pass
an oil,
away.
a THC oil.
Yeah. And a weed and a flower.
Okay.
So, yeah. There's a few names on there that you'll see, and it's because they've been ill. And so they created their own product.
What do you attribute that to? Money?
Yes.
Money.
I do.
Yeah. Me too.
Usually.
Me too.
I have.
That's not a conspiracy brain. That is full-fledged scientific fact.
Yeah.
Always. Yeah. I mean, I use marijuana medicinally and for
recreation,
fun too. But for the most part, it started medicinally because I was prescribed a pill for I have constant nausea. I have some.
Yeah.
It's called gastroparesis.
I know what that is.
Where your stomach's. So the pill they gave me made me feel like I was
other symptoms.
Oh, I turned into Anna Nicole Smith. I was like, hi, guys. I'm here for the pot. And, I'm just on my promethazine, which that's what the doctor prescribed me. But if I use cannabis, cautiously, I'm not coming in.
Your nausea's gone, though.
My nausea's gone, and I can make it.
That's what it's good for.
Well, I think there's been... unfortunately,
stigmatism
just huge.
Yeah.
And it's promoted by huge dollars that nobody
Government,
can ever.
pharma.
Huge dollars, and they're all in cahoots. And sorry, you can whatever. But I think it's important to know and do your research. If it were my kid, and I'm just saying this, if she were struggling with something, the last thing I'm going to do is put her on something that's going to provide more symptoms.
Exactly.
Create more symptoms, right? So I would be like, I'm always Googling. You know me. I'm always like, okay, so I recently found out something going on in my family, and I was Googling, what can I do naturally? What can I do holistically? What are things? Because it may not work, but I know it's going to work better than something that is.
And so here's the next phase, mushrooms, microdosing.
Ooh, I'm all on that.
Yep.
I'm all aboard.
I think we should bring that to the forefront as well.
It's
I think
mental health.
Yes, that's where we're at. We got to bring the mental health back.
So I follow
back to the
I was
forefront.
telling you about comedians. What's the thing that's really popular with comedians? It's not ashwagandha, but it sounds like that. It's what is it?
Ashwagandha.
Yeah.
That's what.
No,
but it's
whatever.
An herb.
Yeah, but it's an herb, and they go and they do this thing, and it's conducted by a shaman.
Okay.
And like DHT or something.
DMT.
Yeah,
something like that. It's what you used to get off of frogs or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're like, it changed my whole outlook. I used to be so depressed, and I was on so many pills, and I'm not.
Yeah, something clicks. You know, you have synopsis in your brain.
That,
so
I'm not promoting
it
I'm
should
just
be
saying,
explored,
do
I guess. Yeah.
And any chance you can cut the government out of your health,
yes,
you probably should. Just
I feel the same. I don't feel like they have our best interest at heart. They're more about the bottom line and greed. Yes.
Yeah. Completely. There's always been money and power in play, and
even with the marijuana, they're trying to get their hands in the pot. Aren't our taxes ridiculous?
Hands in the pot. I just did a pun.
Yes.
Hey, right? So I don't want to I'm not promoting. If I always have to do this disclaimer, but if you have a child or you are, struggling with something and something's working for you,
sure.
Please by all means do it. But I think that if you're struggling with something and you don't want to be pharmaceutically dependent, try something else because
completely
right.
Holistic is a good way to go.
I think it used to be.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Beth is
People are
the
gonna
ultimate holistic person.
See, when we had Devante on, I was like, "You're my person." Now you're my person too. So we're gonna have this whole community.
Vibe, though. I always call it the Jamaican vibe, and it comes from her travels to Jamaica. You've been
grill.
You have to slow down when you get there. There's no rush.
Well, that's what the cafe is.
Yeah.
How long have you been traveling to Jamaica?
31 years.
And sometimes
twice a year.
Seriously. And sometimes thrice a year.
Thrice a year.
Same place?
On the West End, which is the cliffs. I stay on the beach sometimes, but I prefer the cliffs.
Okay.
The water's deep right away. You see things. You're snorkeling. You're instantly in beauty. You know, it's took Becky for 4 days, jumping off the cliffs, doing everything you're supposed to.
So when you're jumping off cliffs, are you doing Rick's Cafe?
It's right next door almost, down the street about
I jumped off
half
Rick's
a mile.
Cafe cliff.
Yeah.
So you've been.
You know.
Dude.
I need to go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here's full on. Bob's coming over here looking at the time because I feel like we could talk here all night long. But so I had gone to Mexico for years and years and years.
Which I've never been to, but it will.
Try.
I will.
It's amazing. Then we went to Jamaica, and I was like, oh, this is a whole new ball game. Mm-hmm. It's totally different. The level of chill is so cool. People are just different there.
Yeah, and they're happy
different.
to see you,
So
and they're just going to take care of you.
So we pull up on this boat, and there's a chick over here with her boobs out, and Luke's like, I'm not looking. And my buddy Ryan was like, I'm not looking
Clothing's
either.
optional on the whole island.
Yeah, it's just so everything's so chill. And I was like, look at the boobs. Okay. Please
just
look
do
at the
it?
boobs because I feel awkward that you're telling me I'm not looking because I know you are.
And you're
right?
looking at
Fine.
the boobs.
And I'm like this. Oh, those are nice boobs. But anyway, so
Exactly.
we go up and I'm terrified of heights.
Oh, I did not know.
Terrified.
Yes.
I did a couple shots of, I don't want to say it's Jamaican flag, but they do offer those there at the Rick's
Okay.
Cafe. And it was really
They use
fantastic.
overproof there, so.
What?
They use overproof rum.
What's that?
It's like Bacardi 151.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's
Okay.
their version.
Well, maybe that's what prompted me to
Yes.
climb up on this cliff.
Speaking of
Yeah.
liquid
So we were
courage.
watching the guy jump from the taller cliff, and I was like, I can't
Oh,
do that.
no.
But I'm gonna throw sheets to the wind, dude, and just get out there. So I did it, and as soon as I got to the bottom, I was like, I cannot believe I just did that. But yeah, I was like, I couldn't believe it. I talked about it for the next like 6 months, and here I am
bet.
talking about it today.
Yeah.
right? Because it's like
It'll be a memory for life.
100%.
Yep.
So
How do you forget that one?
Yeah.
You don't.
Yeah.
You don't.
Yep.
But the whole vibe. So when I went there, and this is the reason I brought up Mexico. The reason I went, like, when I went there, I was like expecting someone to be like, "Oh, God,
Constantly,
Miss
yeah,
Ashley,
yeah.
what do you need?" Which is awesome about Mexico, but in Jamaica, it's like, "You tell me, lady,
Yeah. Where are we-
lady."
Yes.
Right?
They want to know what you want to do. Where
What
are we
do you
going?
need?
Yeah.
They're not coming over to you being like, "Do you need another drink? Do you want to?" They're not bothering.
They're
you.
not pushy.
They're not pushy
Chill.
at all.
On the beach, they might higgle a little, like, do you want to buy this pineapple? Do you want to
Maria,
buy this? Yeah.
hashish, Maria. No, they do. They put a whole bud in Luke's hand, and he was like, "I can't smoke. I have a
My
Maria."
job. That's what a
Yeah,
lot
my
of people
job.
say. My job. They always
And he
say
was
my
like,
job.
he said, "Just try it." And he goes, "My job won't let me do it." And he was like, "Just take it." And Luke was like, "I know better than that. I'm not taking it. So don't take it."
Don't take it.
But-
Don't let them put anything in your hand
No.
either.
Because you have to pay for it.
Yes.
Well, I mean, if you take it, they're
If it's in
either
your
gonna
hand-
kill
Well,
you.
I thought they were just giving things out here.
No,
so
no,
that's all
no.
chill
No.
and fun.
they're
You
trying to get
wish,
you to
yeah.
smoke with them,
Yeah.
which is so
But
fun,
a lot of
by the way.
a
Don't
lot
do
of,
it.
Yeah, but a lot of
So
people
fun.
do say my job, and they
Yeah.
understand and they back off right
Yeah.
away because they know you're not going to make it there the next
Mm-hmm.
time without your job. So
So he had a really good time. We're gonna go back. We stayed at the 7 Mile Beach in the Grill. We want to try
What
something
hotel?
a little more. God, I don't remember. It was one of the bigger ones, but I
Like
want to do
Sandals
something.
or
yeah,
Ryu?
I want to do something a little more intimate.
yes, and there's some sweet spots on the beach
Yeah.
too if you want to. And then
My bucket list is to actually be immersed into the culture because
Heck yeah. So well,
think it's so cool.
so the place I stay now, he even put a little kitchenette in for me, and it's just these cabins that are at 3 dives, where they had the amazing race, and one of the chores was to get to Lloydie's 3 dives and chop a 5-gallon bucket of onions, and so
No.
he was on TV
no,
for the amazing race.
That's so
And-
cool.
Yeah.
you know, she's never been to an all inclusive or
No.
gone like.
Well, so I scuba dive, and I've been to a few all-inclusives, but I prefer to immerse.
But have you ever been to like Jamaica or no? We got to take her.
Yes,
Beth.
definitely.
You're so sheltered.
Definitely. Yeah. We got
You're
to
not
get you out of the
sheltered.
country.
You just I
have
feel
a
like you
passport.
just don't have somebody telling you have to.
Yeah.
So now we're telling you have to,
Okay.
and I feel like
Yep.
you have a
Maybe if I have a
solid
couple
plan.
more drinks, I'll agree to this.
Also, we have to write a list. We have to write a list so we can put it out there for
She's
you.
talking about the segment where we started, where she
Yeah.
was like, her inhibitions are going to be lowered. We're going to make her agree to something
Okay.
before we leave here.
All right.
Last
Okay,
thing I want to touch
sorry.
on real quick, and I hate because we are having so much fun, but I want to touch on with the
Honor.
greenhouse a little bit of honor. You started the greenhouse after the loss of your son, and I want to shout out to your son, who was a beautiful soul that could do everything. He inspired the greenhouse, I think.
His piano's there if anybody wants to play piano.
That's awesome.
He went to an auction, had his own money, raised his hand, and bought that piano.
That's awesome.
So I Googled. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
So I Googled today because I know Beth just from Brittany, and I was like, I want to do better by this. And the first thing that popped up, of course, was Evan's obituary. And I read it, and I was thinking, holy shit, this kid did more in his, 17 short years than I've done in my entire life. And how cool it is to know that the greenhouse is in his memory, in his honor. Also, I'm curious to know how you carry on, because with kids, it's insane.
Luke. I have a Luke.
Right, I know. You do have a Luke. And we don't want to...
But he's why I carry on.
Sure. So Luke is how old?
He's 22 now.
Okay.
So, yeah, he's watching the shop for me while I'm doing this interview.
Right. So when we were outside smoking...
Yeah, he's a good kid, too. He's got his...
Great.
He plays piano, too. So.
He's got his shit together.
Yeah.
So I was outside, and I was like, I'm going to try not to touch on this, but here I am.
We're touching.
I wanted to touch on it because I want to respect him. And something...
No.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing is, I don't even know if you realize you're doing it, but when I said about the matriarch thing, I think it was an outlet, and it was also filling a hole. It obviously doesn't fill a hole completely, but you're taking your mama
and using it on other people.
And using it on, and you're spreading it. And I don't know, like, I think that was the perfect calling after such a tragedy, and you still get to...
And there's a lot of young people that come into the shop, and some of them know him.
And
really,
this is an outlet for them, too. Like, it's a good outlet for, like I said, if you're depressed,
come in.
If you need to
I'm
talk
depressed,
to somebody.
And I'll be there.
She'll talk
come
with
on
you.
in.
I'm
and
sorry
I'll
we
cheer
didn't.
us up.
I'm sorry we didn't talk about this earlier, but I feel like it was because it was so...
It's hard to bring up.
Yeah.
Well, not
No one
only
wants-
that, but I feel like we were just doing... I told
Business.
it was like organic and so fun, but
So yeah, there's little reminders around the shop, just
Yes.
like the Raven, and actually Tom Schultz did a rendering of Evan and I in the picture he drew and sketched, and he put. I have that there, and just little things that remind me of him around the shop.
that hurt you or help you?
It helps me because then I'm like, everybody acknowledges him and lets me be reminded of him. So that's good.
So I know everybody goes through their own experiences when you experience something like this, but I've had experiences with it. Do you have any, I don't want to say advice, but how do you do it?
I do differently than others. I don't gather to places that talk about it. I'm more of a internal,
Enclosed.
Which works for me.
Sure.
I have my close friends that they know.
And taking it day by day, and
Yeah.
like, again, you really do just outshine this onto other people
Without even knowing it. Yeah.
You've saved me so many times.
Yeah.
I think you know that.
There's a lot of kids with a lot of problems.
Well, I think there's a lot of adults with a lot of problems too,
Yeah.
and I think it's really important to note that it's
recognize.
fucking
Talk about it.
Recognize it.
Communicate.
Yes.
Communicate. Go to the Hookah Lounge.
Validate.
Communicate.
Yeah.
If you need like that.
Just an
That's a
outlet.
Validate that you're being listened to and that
Yeah.
you're being heard. So it's like, if you come in, I'm going to listen to you. We're going to talk through it.
Yeah.
We're going to be laughing and smiling and crazy by the time you leave.
Yes.
So.
Yep. And I think at the end of the day, it's important to know that community is here, even if it doesn't seem like it. We bitch about things on Coffee Talk and, Muddy River. We show things that may not be pleasant to the eye, but I think at the heart of everything, community is where it's at, and
Definitely.
we promote
Definitely.
anybody coming to chat with us. And I'm getting goosies now because I really feel like, regardless of what's going on in the world, or even what's going on in Quincy or Adams County, or you could hate something or you could hate someone, and that's fine. But just realize that everybody's here nobody wants to be bad.
No, and
Nobody
everybody's
wants to do
trying
bad
to heal
things.
from something, or they have their own little
Everybody
issue.
has shit.
There's like a couple of people that come in. I need to sit with my back to the wall. I need
Fine.
the music turned down. I need all these different things because it's sensory overload, or it's something triggering them. So we fix it for them.
Yeah.
We move everybody down a seat, and then it's just a comforting.
You have an unfortunate experience that you build on and you use to promote connectivity and community, and I think that's beautiful and amazing, and I hope you continue, and I hope everything that you want with the consumption and everything that's going on in the world. I really do feel like everything I really feel like eventually it's all going to come down to how well we treat one another in the community, in
coming together,
right?
Taking care of
Social
each
media.
other.
Yeah, 100%.
For real.
I want to cheers to
Yeah,
that.
I
Yes,
feel like I
taking
got
care of
the
each
goosies and
other.
I'm close to
Cheers.
cry, but I just
Cheers to Evan.
Yeah,
Cheers to Evan.
100%,
Here's to the
yeah.
greenhouse, and here's
you.
to you,
And to
Beth
your continued
Duesterhaus.
success
Thank
and the
you.
mama. And thank you, Bob, for allowing this facilitation of amazing beauty, which we all
Yeah, Bob.
encapsulate.
He is shaking his head.
He's like, what did I do? Listen,
done.
Because, hey, here's the thing. We wouldn't be here without
It's
Money
true.
River
and
Abuse,
it's-
I think this is really, really fucking
and we wouldn't be able
important.
to talk about these things.
I think it's really
So-
important. Hopefully everybody has either enjoyed or related to something we've talked about. I do want to end this with, if you have something that you want to talk about, either hit the greenhouse or call the suicide hotline.
988.
Do it.
Yep.
988.
988.
Yep. Call me, call Brittany, call Bob.
Yeah.
We are all here for you. Life sucks for all of us sometimes.
But let's make it lighter.
Yes.
Let's live
do your
lightly.
best.
Yeah.
And the next time somebody holds the door for you, say thank you. And maybe the next time
Yes.
somebody's coming out, hold the door for them. It's the little things.
It is the little
Right?
things.
Yeah.
It is.
All right, bitches, I fucking love you.